from the area's most experienced news team. This is NBC29 HD News at 6.
I was incredibly upset.
We dropped the ball on it.
Administrators at Western Albemarle High School say it is clear a mistake was made while approving class materials. That video, which contains strong sexual content and was shown to WAHS students, has parents very upset tonight.
In fact, it's caused such a problem, the school division has put its working relationship with a well-known sexual violence advocacy group on hold.
Here, an Amtrak train crashed into this trash truck. You see the trash strewn all over the ground here. This happened just about an hour ago or so.
And that massive mudslide is near Swift Run Gap, and all of that rainfall overnight has caused flooding all throughout the county. We're here along Route 33, where you can take a look at just how bad this flooding is. It's still pouring down the mountain, and look just how deep some of these craters are from that water just streaming down.
Well, guys, we're responding to a bit of an interesting situation right now. If you look over to my left, we have the Charlottesville Fire Department that's responding to a scene here on East Market Street. The Charlottesville Police Department says they received a suspicious package a few moments ago and are just doing this as precaution. But if you take a look past these cars over to my right, you can see that protesters from Surge and Black Lives Matter are remaining in place. They say the charge against DeAndre Harris needs to be dropped and that he's a victim of what happened last summer. Now, organizers say tonight's vigil is aimed at encouraging people to attend Harris's trial on Friday. They are calling on Commonwealth's Attorney Joe Platini to drop all charges against Harris.
We know at this point at least one person is hurt and traffic is definitely impacted. NBC29's Henry Graff is live on the scene with the breaking news.
Steve Casey, good evening. Albemarle County Fire Rescue crews have the fire under control here right now.
Albemarle County School Board is once again discussing ways to address racism in the school division. Tonight, the board looked at an anti-racism policy draft created by students, while also discussing how it plans to take steps to enforce the proposed policy in the county. This comes after the school division announced it would work together with Charlottesville schools to address anti-racism policies in both systems. Charlottesville City Schools passed a resolution last week banning Confederate imagery from its schools. Albemarle Superintendent Matt Haas says the divisions want the same outcomes, but won't necessarily work at the same pace.
They moved at a different pace than perhaps our board did. Our board is moving. They decided to prioritize having an anti-racism policy to begin with.
People say Charlottesville's struggle with race didn't just begin after the Unite the Right rallies.
I think there have been things under the surface for years.
Tony Barskill says being from the North, at first she didn't understand why people were so upset with the Robert E. Lee statue until she saw
how much meaning and how much people had that statue or that way of life invested in who they are.
Who they are is one topic the Dialogue on Race series at the Jefferson School is talking about. Back in December, people got to vote on their personal priorities within 5 different categories. Everything from education to recovery and preparation stemming from the events of the summer.
I think folks are thirsty for Charlottesville's story.
On Monday, the topic that got the most votes was supporting learning more about Charlottesville's history.
I realized that the Old South is still here. And really kind of shocked me, I guess.
Charlene Green with the Office of Human Rights says besides that history, she's also been working with other communities who haven't attended the Dialogue on Race sessions in neighborhoods like West Haven and Tonsler Park to get their input.
That's when I get responses like, there should be more rapid rehousing available because I know a lot of people who are homeless.
She says getting everyone's input is how we can start trying to move forward.
Understanding our history is like having that first chapter.
Tonight, meet the best bus driver in the state. Hear what makes this Albemarle County jaunt driver so special. Governor Ralph Northam stops in Albemarle County to help announce a big expansion at a software company. We have details on the new jobs headed this way. Plus,
we would certainly like to regain the trust of Albemarle County Public Schools.
The Sexual Assault Resource Agency opens up about a pair of controversial sex ed videos. It's split with Albemarle County Public Schools and the fallout.
Live in high definition from the area's most experienced news team. This is NBC29 HD News at 6.
But first, just moments from now, a Charlottesville jury is expected to deliberate the fate of a man accused in a violent beating on August 12th.
Yeah, the victim in this case says he was attacked in the Market Street parking garage after police cleared the Unite the Right rally from Emancipation Park. Now, Jacob Goodwin, who is one of the men accused of that attack, will have his fate determined by a panel of jurors. NBC29's Megan Moriarty is tracking the courtroom details in our top story tonight. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Casey and Steve. Right now, the jury is listening to closing arguments before the case goes to them, and they have to decide, is Jacob Goodwin guilty of maliciously wounding DeAndre Harris? Now, they're asked to consider 3 things when making that decision. Number 1, was bodily injury caused? Number 2, was it done with intent to harm, kill, or disfigure? And number 3, was it done maliciously? Now, the Commonwealth is saying that Goodwin came to Charlottesville ready for battle and says he inserted himself in that battle between Harris and others and went after Harris. Now, the defense is sticking by their earlier statement, saying that Goodwin was truly terrified and his actions were all self-defense.
The head of the Sexual Assault Resource Agency says they're saddened that Albemarle County schools cut ties with them over that pair of controversial videos.
But tonight, Rebecca Waybright is speaking out and hoping to mend fences. NBC29's Henry Graff spoke with the executive director of SARA today and is here now with that story.
Yeah, Rebecca Waybright says that they are saddened by the decision from Albemarle County Schools to cut ties with SARA. They're also concerned that students won't get the services that SARA provides. Last year alone, SARA programming helped 3,300 Albemarle students.
Wrong with that. Sex is not a science. It's not a series of steps.
A pair of controversial sex videos shown to students at Western Albemarle High School has the head of the Sexual Assault Resource Agency addressing the issue head on.
We didn't want this to happen.
The horns were just blaring, blaring, blaring. And so I got my dogs in, and then I heard just an enormous crash.
A terrifying scene as an Amtrak train filled with Republican lawmakers collides with a garbage truck near Crozet.
I didn't feel any slowing before the impact.
Just terrifying.
Tonight we're live with team coverage from Crozet and from Charlottesville, where lawmakers are reacting to the deadly accident.
We really weren't sure what's happening, and it was quite scary.
Your NBC29 team coverage starts right now. Thanks for joining us tonight. Federal investigators are on the scene in Crozet, where a chartered Amtrak train carrying members of Congress crashed into a trash truck.
One person on that time disposal company truck is dead. Several others are receiving treatment at the hospital. We begin our team coverage tonight on the scene of this developing story. NBC29's Matt Tallhelm is live in Crozet. Good evening, Matt.
Yeah, good evening, Steve and Casey. We are just off of Lanetown Road, just outside of downtown Crozet. Those federal investigators are here on the scene. We are awaiting the NTSB investigative team to arrive here, but we have seen FBI recovery teams here, as well as the Federal Railroad Administration. Let me step out of the way, and you can see this is what is left, the wreckage of that Amtrak engine that slammed into the trash truck on Lanetown Road at the track crossing. Now, that's about a quarter-mile east of where this train came to a screeching halt. This accident happened around 11:15 this morning on the tracks belonging to Buckingham Branch Railroad. The chartered Amtrak train was carrying those Republican members of Congress, their staffers, and security, including Capitol Police.
And that's where our final installment picks up with one nurse who learned all of that the hard way. She lost nearly everything before she found Georgia's Healing House.
How are you guys doing over here?
Jiley Garth works 6 days a week as a server at La Taza in Charlottesville. But 20 years ago, her life was very different.
It's terrible. It's terrible. My record is terrible.
That record includes 3 felonies, 8 suspended license convictions, 3 shoplifting charges, several other misdemeanors, and the loss of her career.
I felt that I had lost such a huge part of my identity. There just wasn't any reason to try anymore.
Police make 4 arrests as confrontations between various demonstrators and police mark 1 year since last year's violent white supremacist events. People flooded 4th Street in Charlottesville.
That you'll bring us a peace, that you'll bring a calm to this entire community.
Prayers and kind words celebrate the memory of Heather Heyer, a woman who died last year fighting for racial justice.
Just to let her know that her life was not in vain.
This as people vow to continue the fight for justice and equality NBC29 team coverage starts right now.
Happening right now in Charlottesville, members of the interfaith community are gathering on the downtown mall at the Sprint Pavilion.
Yeah, the group is participating in a Better Together rally on this, the anniversary of the Unite the Right rally that turned violent. People are coming to the pavilion to pray together for change and healing, both for this community and for the nation. This is a live look with that rally just about to get underway. Coming up tonight on your News at 11, we'll have a closer look at the worship service and hear from community leaders.
Good evening, Casey. I'm here outside Circuit Court where just hours ago the jury handed back the verdict for James Fields Jr. Now, following that announcement, members of the community and survivors took to the streets in solidarity.
I woke up this morning with my mind set on justice.
A community reclaiming its streets.
Black lives are under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back.
Members of the Charlottesville community marched downtown Friday night after news of multiple guilty verdicts for James Fields Jr.
It's a relief. You can actually breathe now from it.
Marcus Martin was one of the victims outside Charlottesville Circuit Court following the verdict.
Long, 9 tense days, like those 9 days when this whole court case was going on, you just couldn't breathe.
Friday, Fields was convicted of first-degree murder in the death of Heather Heyer and found guilty of several other charges related to the violent car attack on August 12, 2017.
Just having to go through what he did to us, out of hatred, violence, with the intent to hurt us, kill us, and just to make sure that he can never do that to nobody else again.
The owner of Nelson County's Silverback Distillery holding his watch party right down the road from his business in Afton at Blue Mountain Brewery. That's where we find NBC29's Pete DeLuca, who kicks off our Decision 2018 team coverage. Good evening, Pete.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. We're here at Blue Mountain Brewery where Denver Riggleman and many of his supporters celebrated a big win tonight in the sense that Virginia's 5th district will remain red. Now, the last of the crowd just filed out, but all night long this brewery was buzzing with excitement. Tonight, Riggleman thanked his wife and daughters as well as all of his supporters and now says he has his sights set on government deregulation.
There's a time, I think, when everybody has to fight. There's a time when you have three really positions you can take when you're going against sort of this overreach of government and what we're trying to do on this liberty movement. You can either be in the fetal position and accept what's happening, you can run away, or you can fight. And right now in the 5th district, this is the fighting 5th. Liberty lives here.
When asked if he hopes to serve in Congress long term, Riggleman said he does not plan to do it for the remainder of his working life, but rather he wants to serve long enough to make a difference before handing off the reins to someone else. Now, Riggleman, much like President Trump, will enter office with little to no political experience, and that's something his supporters say they really like about him. Now, they are excited to see what he can accomplish during his 2 years in Congress.
Hey there, Casey and Steve. You know, your parents or grandparents probably sit down to do a newspaper crossword puzzle or maybe play Sudoku on their iPads to keep their minds sharp. But this training takes the brain well beyond that to improve attention, short and long-term memory, and even thinking speed.
I think being in this lab is just a perpetual learning process, actually.
Assistant Professor Nicola Bezzo and his students have mapped a tunnel in Central Virginia through the eyes of a robot.
This was done partially for historic preservation and also to help remodel the tunnel, since we want to reopen it to the public.
The Blue Ridge Tunnel in Crozet has been shut down for years. Now it's going to be turned into a Crozet attraction. Lasers on top of the robot made the exploration possible.
Hi, Casey and Steve. In less than 48 hours, the entire lawn will be covered with soon-to-be grads, families, and balloons of all different shapes and sizes. It's tradition for the students to carry one each year so that their loved ones can pick them out of the crowd. But this year, 2 environmental groups on grounds are asking people to ditch the balloon and make a change.
Let's say on average you spend about $60 every time you come to the grocery store. Doing the math, that means you would save more than $5 per trip. And that's a lot more money back in your pocket.
Hey, good morning, Jen. Good morning, Matt. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, not a bad start to the day. Of course, you know, when it
We forecast higher humidity, warmer temperatures. If you have any strenuous work to do outdoors, always a good idea to try to get it done during the morning hours. We're here live on East Market Street. Feeling pretty good right now.
Josh says that the snow is coming. Isn't that right, Josh?
And it's snowing over top of us, but the atmosphere is so dry here at the ground level that the snowflakes for now are evaporating before they reach the ground.
Hey, well, the Cavaliers look to just keep rolling along tonight. Virginia has won 10 straight games. The Hoos have a record of 12-0 here at John Paul Jones Arena.
The Cavaliers will be looking to avoid any historical moments tonight. The game tips off at 9:20, so it'll still be going on during the 11 o'clock news. I will have a complete recap on the Sunrise Show.